What I want to do on today's intensive session is I want to continue the conversation on playbooks, on creating SOPs. I just gave you kind of the next step here. The next step is crafting the perfect week. We're all after the perfect week. Some weeks are just, oh my God, how was this week? It was awesome. I mean, things just flowed. I felt energized. I felt in the zone. I felt accomplished. I felt productive, but not overwhelmed. Things just clicked. That's symptoms of the perfect week. I would imagine many of us had more non-perfect weeks. Non-perfect weeks is overwhelmed, depleted of energy. Things just seemed to take forever. It was just this arduous, just difficult, like, oh, I'm just doing all this stuff. I feel like I'm not even getting anywhere. Those are many of our weeks. When you plan your week, you actually allow for more fun and more creativity. And what's interesting, when I started doing this myself, I looked at planning as something that would make me a little more robotic and make it more of a pain in the ass. Like, I'm an intuitive type of person. I try to plan here and there, but I'm just in the moment, just flowing with it. That's what I thought this would take me away from. And of course, lo and behold, that's not what happened. What happened is, as I began to plan my week, I actually had more freedom because the stuff that I needed to do was in there. So when there was open space, I could just be free to be me or do what I want to do and all that kind of stuff. So it actually took pressure off, which opened up my creative juices. So the question is, how do you specifically do that in your business, where you're running everything, you're being pulled in a ton of directions, you're being interrupted nonstop? How do you do it? So I want to just go over some of these and just have some discussions. Does that work? Okay. So steps to a perfect week: how to reduce context switching, how to maintain the flow state, and how to keep your energy at an all-time high in that moment or in that moments, right? The opposite of that is the words that you hear a lot, maybe from your staff, maybe from family, whatever: overwhelmed, stressed, and burned out. Those are the opposite of what we're talking about. When you hear those words, you can basically say, there's too many things on somebody's plate. There's too many activities they don't like. So of course it's hard to get a state of flow if you do not like the activities. They are wasting time all over the place because they can't get things, they're context switching everywhere. So when you hear, the next time you hear from anyone, overwhelmed, burned out, stressed, it's because of those things, period. Not maybe it's because of those things. It's 100% because of those things. So the best way to help other people, the best way to help our staff and perhaps help even our family, is to help ourselves and for us to experience it. So number one, chunking activities. Who has heard of the word chunking activities? Some people call it batching activities. All right, chunking activities, I first learned it through Tony Robbins. I'm sure everyone's heard of Tony Robbins, the guru, the coach, and all that. He used the word chunk. I liked it, so I took it. So chunking activities. Chunking activities is simply grouping similar activities together. There's a certain thread of connection with activities. For example, treating patients. Each patient is different. Their diagnosis is different, but it's still treating them. It's still a level of asking questions, what we're going to do next, looking at, whatever you're physically doing with them, whether it's, mental health, whether it's pediatrics, whether it's physical therapy, whatever your discipline is, it's still some type of flow because it's about patient care. That would be an example. Another example is kind of what I'm doing today in my schedule. My schedule is all about the coaching world, being in that coaching, in that totally present with you, coaching around certain things. There's a flow for this for me, right? If I added in like I'm going to look at my financials from last month. I'm going to go through some metrics, or I'm going to have I'm going to do, I don't know, speak to some potential referral sources or something like that. That's a different energy level for me, right? And if I put those on top of this, it will affect me showing up here. So those are a couple examples. I put in scheduling meetings. You know, one of the most powerful things you can do and to leverage your time is to have meetings with people, meetings with your staff, not whenever they want, but to have them on a regular basis. Well, I know if you're having one-on-one meetings, you will be much more in the flow of things, in the mental flow, is if the meetings were literally all on the same day. You went into work and you had maybe a staff meeting at 10, a one-on-one at 11, another one-on-one 11:30, another one-on-one at 12, and you were out of the clinic by 12:30, 1 o'clock. Versus you have a meeting at 11 on a Tuesday, you have a meeting on Wednesday at 9, you have another one Friday morning. That meeting will not be the same. I promise you. And if you've already done it, I'd love to hear from you. Because there's no flow or connection with it. It's almost like a one-off. Who has done that before? Like who either right now, because we're all being, truthful and open and vulnerable. Who does meetings like that? Like their meetings are at multiple different times and multiple days. Allison, tell me how that works for you.
So the way my meetings are organized is for my COO, so she can attend all the meetings, and she's got to run the practice. So it's hard for her to block out an entire day just to do a bunch of meetings, unfortunately.
Yeah. So those are challenges. And, it doesn't mean that there's not a potential solution or an improvement. It doesn't have to be all or none. But I can promise you this, she will be much more efficient, much more productive with those meetings if they were all concentrated, which is kind of stacking activities, which we'll talk about in a second. But if she had them in one spot, now it could be 2 spots for meetings. That's okay, depending how much staff you have and how many meetings you have. It may not be productive to have meetings from 8 to 4:30 in the afternoon. But the idea is it's not perfection, it's progress. And where you can chunk and connect activities of similar, she will create a better flow. You will actually help her create a better week. She'll be in a better mood. She'll feel better about the meeting because of what happens when you stay in that same mindset. It's easier to prepare for 3 meetings back to back to back than it is to 1 meeting now, 1 meeting tomorrow, 1 meeting 3 days from now. It's easier to do it all at once. You're in that thinking mode. What do you think?
We do condense our work week so that the meetings are Tuesday through Thursday, because you never know when the federal holiday is going to fall on Monday, and lots of people will take Fridays off. So it's just nice to have our regular weekly meetings Wednesday through Thursday.
Yeah, cool. Kristen, you raised your hand. How does this affect you, meetings and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think I've done a good job trying to chunk my meetings with my team, but where I get sporadic is scheduling meetings with other people, like doing it around their schedule versus my own. Like I need to be more strict to this is my day that I'm available for meetings. And I've started to shift in that direction and made pretty good progress, but I'm still that one's like, oh nope, I can do that on Thursday or Friday and things like that. But
yeah, you actually bring up a really good point. People that are more successful and take more pride in their time, owning their time, are much more proactive in their schedule. There's a relationship between the two. Like, let's say a busy CEO. You're not going to call a busy CEO and go, hey, can I grab 5 minutes of your time? Sure. They're not going to do it, right? Because they're in control of their time. They're going to be like, love to talk to you. Is there any chance we can meet tomorrow at 2 o'clock? Would that be okay? Sure. What they just did is didn't say no to you, just said no, not now, because I'm in control of my calendar and I want to be fully there for you. So they have times blocked out where they have those types of meetings or calls. So for you, Kristen, one of the biggest things I think will have the biggest impact for you is being more proactive in your calendar. It doesn't mean not having meetings with people. It's controlling when you're going to have them. Now, there are the one-offs sometimes that just cannot fit in the times you offer. Sure, that's not a big deal. But the more reactive you are, the less productive you're going to be, the more frustrated you're going to be for sure. You're never going to be in the zone of things, and you're just never going to get moving with anything because basically you are reacting to other people's wants and needs and schedule.
Right.
And that's a difficult for many of us because we're helpful people. We want to help. That's why we're in these professions. We want to help others. But there's a way to help others and be absolutely selfish with your time. I want you to be fantastically selfish with your time. You control when things happen, not someone else. And that includes if you're still treating your patient schedule. Because if you try to be everything for everybody, you are going to destroy you. And you're the one that makes everything else go. So keeping in tune with your energy, with your flow, is your job. There's really no more important job than that. Because in that state, you got confidence. Things just come out. Things don't bother you as much. But the other state, we've all been there. It's just not a great place to be. And you definitely don't make decisions in that. Let's see. Anybody in charge of the social media, marketing, anything like that? Anybody doing that? So another example I have, this is something that I did personally. So instead of approving social media posts or something, maybe 2-3 times a week or what have you, create a social media calendar for the whole month. This is what my team and I just did. They suggested it. They said, this isn't really working for me, constantly approving this stuff. You're like, well, what if we just create a month calendar and then you can go just approve them all at once and then you don't have to worry about it for a month. So that would be an idea of, again, an activity for me that is scheduled, that's all about I'm approving social media ads all at once, blocking out time, no other distractions, and knocking it out in less than an hour for the entire month versus approving this, approving that, I missed this, I missed that spelling, or this didn't seem right, because I'm just trying to get it done because I'm exhausted, because I'm focusing on other things over here. So that's an example. Another example I put out is like marketing or building relationships, networking, and stuff like that. I know it's not perfect, but finding time like at lunch or patient canceling, saying, oh, I'm going to do some marketing stuff now, you're just better off not doing anything. You're better off maybe doing some documentation or something than to switch your brain to then focus on marketing, to then stop marketing, go right back to patient care. And again, allowing that schedule to determine what you're doing. That's just been my experience for sure. Any other comments on that? Sue, is this resonating for you? Chunking activities, staying in a consistent type of task?
Yeah, it actually does resonate with me. Sorry, I can't use my camera today. I have a little bit of a situation, but I had run into this idea of chunking activities actually in a pedagogy class. So it's one of the things that we like. Obviously you've read about it too. So It's just a good idea, and I teach it to my students when they're trying to create time for focus. It's part of performance enhancement. So that's how I've used it.